Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet nasta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha nanda gopa kumaraya govindaya namo namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 10, verse number 3. Bhutamatendriyadhiyam janma sarga udharata brahmano gunavaishampya visarga paurusha smritaha. One more time. Bhutamatendriyadhiyam janma sarga udharata brahmano guna vaishamvyat visarga paurusha smritaha. Synonyms: Bhuta, the five gross elements, the sky, etc. Matra, objects perceived by the senses. Indriya, the senses. Dhyam, of the mind. Janma, creation. Sarga, manifestation. Udharatha is called the creation. Brahmana of Brahma, the first Purusha. Guna Vaishampyat, by interaction of the three modes of nature. Visarga, recreation. Paurusha, resultant activities. Smritaha, it is also known. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. The elementary creation of 16 items of matter, namely the five elements: fire, water, land, air, and sky. Sound, form, taste, smell, touch, and the eyes. Ears, nose, tongue, skin, and the mind is known as the sarga, whereas the subsequent resultant reaction of the modes of material nature is called visarga. Purport: in order to explain the 10 divisional symptoms of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 7 continuous verses. The first of these under reference pertains to the 16 elementary manifestations of earth, water, etc., with material ego composed of material intelligence and mind. The subsequent creation is the resultant of the reactions of the above mentioned 16 energies of this first Purusha. The Mahavishnu incarnation of Govinda, as later explained by Brahma in his treatise Brahma Samhita, as follows. Yakkaranarva jale bhajati sma yoga nidram ananta jagadanda saroma kupa adara shaktim avalambya param swamurtim govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. The first Purusha incarnation of Govinda, Lord Krishna, known as Mahavishnu, goes into the Yoga Nidra mystic sleep, and the innumerable universes are situated in potency in each and every hair hole of his transcendental body. As mentioned in the previous verse, Shrutena, or with reference to the Vedic conclusions, the creation is made possible from the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly by manifestation of his particular energies. Without such a Vedic reference, the creation appears to be a product of material nature. This conclusions comes from a poor fund of knowledge. From Vedic reference, it is concluded that origin of all energies, namely internal, external, and marginal, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as explained herein before, the illusory conclusion is that creation is made by inert material nature. The Vedic conclusion is a transcendental light, whereas the non-Vedic conclusion is the material darkness. The internal potency of Supreme Lord is identical with the Supreme Lord, and the external potency is enlivened in contact with the internal potency. The parts and parcels of the internal potency which react in contact with the external potency are called marginal potency or the living entities. Thus, the original creation is directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead or Parabrahman, and the secondary creation as a reactionary result of original ingredients is made by Brahma. Thus, the activities of the whole universe are started. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Shunyamadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Gnananandam Gnananandamayam Devam Nirmalam Spritikakriti Mahadaram Sarva Vidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmaya. Okay, so it looks like a technical verse for me, and it's difficult for me to make this understand, but I will try something. The first thing of thinking about is Srimad Bhagavatam. If somebody comes and asks, what is Srimad Bhagavatam composed of? What happens when we read Srimad Bhagavatam? By Srila Prabhupada's mercy or Acharya's mercy, one becomes a devotee of Krishna by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. All of us have this experience. Why and what is that Srimad Bhagavatam explains? That one is very clearly explained in this first verse of the 10th chapter. It says, the devotees would have already covered, but I'll just go again, that there are 10 characteristics or aspects of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is talking about Sarga, Visarga, Sthanam, Poshanam, Uthaya, Manvantara, Ishanukatha, Nirado, Muktir, Ashraya. So it says the sum and bonum is this 10 characteristics. What are they? The 10 divisions of statements. That means the 10 characteristics. So one is the creation. The Srimad Bhagavatam talks about creation of universe, subcreation, planetary systems, protection by the Lord, the creative impetus, the change of Manus, the signs of God, returning home back to Godhead, and liberation. And if I understand correctly, in a day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus who are taking care of the entire administration of this universe. And each Manu, there will be how many yugas? I forgot. For each Manu, there are many yugas, maybe 1000 yugas, probably. I think so. So that means how many Manus? 14 Manus, and each Manu, the administration goes on and different pastimes happen, and so on and so forth. I was thinking about this pastime of Prajapati Daksha that happened in Swayambhuva Manu, and then when he got his head as a goat head, and he comes back again, that was in 4th canto, and then he comes back again in 6th canto, that is already a Chakshusha Manu, and that from the Swayambhuva Manu to Chakshusha Manu, it might be like, I don't know how many Manus came in between, maybe 4 or 5 Manus in between. That means each Manvantara, there are so many things happens. There's millions of years, right? So this is what that means how much Srimad Bhagavatam is explaining in change of Manus also. And the creation of universe, kind of boring sometimes. What is this creation again, right? I was thinking this morning when I read this verse, creation of a temple for our own temple construction, how long it takes? It's taking forever. People think, it's still not yet. Oh, some people say, no, it's so fast. But there's so many things to come up with a completely say temple is ready. How many ingredients in creating that temple? Just one temple. And what about our universe? And what is the potency of Krishna, which is inconceivable to understand how he creates, how he manages all this. It's unbelievable. Nobody can understand. It's only Krishna can. It's inconceivable, right? I was thinking about Chatur Shloki. 1 second. In this Chatur Shloki of Bhagavatam, what all is there in the Chatur Shloki of Bhagavatam? In this 3rd canto, right? We had gone through this Chatur Shloki in the previous verse, probably previous chapter. I don't know exactly where is it. 4 verses of Bhagavatam, Srimad Chatur Shloki. Okay. Let me read this. It says, O Brahma, the personality of Godhead, was existing before creation, when there was nothing but myself. There was no material nature, the cause of the creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead. And after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. That is Krishna speaking. Oh Brahma, he is actually telling, right? He is giving all these explanations and he is addressing Brahma. Oh, second one, oh Brahma, that which happens to be of value has no relation to me, has no reality. Know that it is my illusory energy, a reflection which appears in the darkness. On the 3rd verse, it says, O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created. And at the same time, I am outside of everything. And the fourth verse. A person searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. So what is this mystery it's talking about is Gnanam Param Guhyame, that means knowledge about me as described in Shastras is very confidential, direct perception of the absolute truth. And now it says that it has to be realized, indirect perception of the absolute truth. How can we realized? That can be realized only with devotional service. The activities of the living entities and the Supreme Lord, known as the signs of love. And then the necessary paraphernalia for that process is the confidential signs of devotional service. Okay. So it says, you may take it up carefully. I myself in my eternal form, my transcendental existence, my transcendental form, qualities and activities by factual realization. So without realization of absolute, we may not even understand what exactly is this. This Chaturshloki Bhagavatam is giving the whole explanation of that. Without Krishna, nothing can exist. And even Krishna exists in everything, but is not there. He is in Goloka, but is somehow is existing here. But where is he? No, he's not there. He is in Goloka only. But his energies are existing here. That's what the spiritual energy is. Internal energy. So, talking about this sloka, it's like mind-boggling that how do I really understand this 10 verses? So, out of these 10 characteristics, it started the first characteristic, which is Sarga and Visarga. What is Sarga and what is Visarga? It is talking, right? There are 16 elements, which is object of senses and knowledge of acquiring senses, right? Sorry, I think they're all working senses as well, looks like. One is the namely 5 elements: fire, water, land, air, and sky. It says perceived objects perceived by the senses, matra, indriya, the senses, dhyam of the mind, janma, creation, manifestation. So sarga means manifestation. So manifestation of this entire cosmic universe, right? So this is how is it made? This is made of 5 elements. And there is a sound, form, taste, smell, touch, and the eyes, which is all knowledge acquiring senses and also our working senses. But the mind is internal. It's not like Gnanendriya, Karmendriya. This is mind is different. It is inside. I don't know how to say this. Mind is out of these senses. Okay. Now, if you look at this particular verse, is talking about the next 7 verses is explaining the how this 10 divisional symptoms, that means the characteristic of Srimad Bhagavatam, is explained. Now this is talking about Sarga and Visarga. So these are the material elements which is existing in this material world. But how are these existing? It's actually coming from Krishna only. Who is the source of all these material elements? Krishna only. It is not that somewhere there, right? So it has come from Brahma, who created all these material elements. It's coming through Brahma, right? Because Krishna asked Brahma to create this universe, and so Brahma created this universe. What did he do? He took all these elements, which is nothing but a template. That's all. Nothing happened. There is only template. It's created everything. All the template has been done. All the living, material objects are there. Everything is there. But how that comes into existence is explaining in the next paragraph that there are three energies: internal potency, external potency, and marginal potency. All the energies are there. Internal is Krishna's energy. External is Maya, which is the material nature. And then marginal. Margin means what? It's a border. A margin line is like a border, right? Either who are marginal is living entities like us. So we are either in the border, either you can take up internal service, go towards the internal energy, or go towards the material nature, which is under the clutches of Maya, which is Durga Devi. So we can go either towards the internal energy or towards the external energy. So this is where we are as a marginal living entities. So all this is being created, all the material nature is being created. And then Mahavishnu is the first Purusha, is explaining, right? First Purusha is none other than Mahavishnu. And which is all the entire, everything is coming out of him, but every universe is coming out of. We know, I think everybody knows that Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, Karanadakashaya Vishnu. Sorry, first is Mahavishnu other than Karana, and then Garbhodakashaya, that means which is for each universe, and then Kshirodakashaya, each and every atom of this universe. Kshirodakashaya Vishnu expands himself and is there in every minute article of this universe. It's all within us also as a super soul in our heart. It is Karanadakashaya Vishnu. So even though the template is created, Mahavishnu glances at this material nature. The moment he glances at the material nature means material nature is there. All elements are there. But it is in the template form. And there is nothing there. It's just a template. But when Mahavishnu glances means, or when the moment he glances, he projects all the living entities. Okay, this is another explanation here. The moment he glances, the material nature gets agitated. What is agitated means? The moment Mahavishnu glances on the material nature, he projects all the living entities to this material nature, and then it gets activated. That means there is a prana. Prana means it's a life, right? So when there is a life comes to all this material nature, that is the agitation happens, then everything activates and there is a life in all this material nature. Maybe there is a plant or there is whatever it is, anything for that matter, it's all there. It's like just like us, there is a body lying, but there is no life. Correct? No? So when there is a life in the body, there is a consciousness in the body. Like that, in everything in this material nature, it is in a template form, nothing happens. But the moment Mahavishnu glances it, the material nature gets agitated. That means he is projecting all these living entities into the material nature, and everything gets activated, and there is a life. And that's a different, now we know what is an internal energy. Internal energy is nothing but coming from Krishna, which is Mahavishnu. All right. And now the external energy is nothing but it's all the material nature. And this marginal energy is there where we are, all the living entities, which has been projected and comes into this material nature, material being. And now we are in the marginal, whether we have to go this way or that way, it is left to us. And how do we go towards, and as long as we are in this material nature, we are here for time immemorial anyway. And it is being created because we're all coming from this so-called material nature. We got, how do we go back to Krishna is the main thing. Because it also says how to go back to Godhead. In the first verse, it says liberation, how to go back to Godhead, right? One of the 10 characteristics, it says how to go back. So for us, as an external potency is always there. Daivi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya. Mama Maya Duratyaya. Krishna is telling. It's Mama, my Maya. So when we as a living entity, we are under the clutches of Maya, we are doomed. We are going in cycles of birth and death for time immemorial, whether in this universe or other universe, or we don't know how many lifetimes we have taken, how many millions of years we are there, how based on our evolution from an amoeba to all the nature of becoming a human being, we don't know how many lives we have taken. At least we are now Durlabham Manusha Janma, which is the highest among all the living entities, which we are there. And after at least being a human being, the incarnation of us, of a living entity as a human being here, we got to get out back to spiritual world. And enough is enough here. We don't need anything to be here forever. So what to do for that? Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. He is telling us to surrender. And all the acharyas, including our Srila Prabhupada and our Gaudiya Sampradaya acharyas with Guru Varga, our Guru Varga, they are all telling us, take up this devotional service, right? The way we need to get out of this material nature. Yes, we are somehow got attached to this material nature. If I want to get out, material nature will not leave you. And material nature wants to let you out, I cannot leave. That's an attachment with us. But Krishna can, just like a jailer or a king. We are in the jail, and the jailer is Durga Devi. He is taking care of us in the jail. But Krishna or a king of that city can come in and he can walk you out of the jail. Who is other than Krishna? When you surrender to Krishna by the process of devotional service, that means towards the internal potency of the Lord, Krishna can take you out of the jail, which is material nature. So it's all depends on us as the marginal energy, where we want to be, whether you want to be with Krishna or whether you want to be with Maya. Correct? That's all we need to understand. Other than that, we don't have, of course, we don't have any control. I don't think we have any control on this material nature. We are thinking that we are controlling, but we are all under control of material nature. So the easiest possible way is to surrender to Krishna and get out of this. So these are some elements, Krishna, this out of 10 characteristics, that Visarga and Visarga, they are in relation with all these elements. Visarga means all these energies interacting with these elements. So this is what's explaining in this first verse. And next 7 verses, it explains all the 10 characteristics of Srimad Bhagavatam. I think I'll stop here. And thank you for being in this class, patiently hearing. And I think I'll stop here. Thank you very much. If you have any comments, questions, we can talk about. Otherwise, we'll stop. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpadurvayascha kripasindhubhesha patitanam pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo Ananta Koti Vaishnav ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All
Hare
hail
Krishna.
to Guru and Gauranga. Prabhuji,
Yes,
wonderful class. So nice. One thing that struck my mind was when you said like how everything is there, but until and unless the glance of the Lord falls on and agitates, nothing happens. And what came to my mind at that point of time was, my high school physics, law of inertia. Law of inertia says that an object continues to be in motion or in a state of rest until another force acts upon it. And that is precisely what is being said there. Like everything is laying around, and the Lord, until and unless he glances, nothing will happen. And that is the force that gets applied and how the entire universe works. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
That force in this physics, they did not talk about Mahavishnu.
Yeah, Prabhuji. See, science, modern science particularly, is all about
No,
removing
I understand.
all
I was
from correct
joking.
understanding.
That force, at least we know that there is a force, but
Yes.
what force is a question.
That is Mahavishnu. Yeah, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Good.
see, even for us, did we know Krishna? No way. We know one Balagopal deities were there in most of our houses, and we'll say Krishna. How did we come to know Krishna? We come by the process of this association with someone who brought us and introduced to ISKCON. And by the process of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, it opened us our heart, opened our eyes, and then slowly, at least even today, we are still, it's inconceivable to understand, but at least we are there. One day, at least we'll get realization. Correct, no? So, in spite of even in ISKCON, that doesn't mean that we know. It's not just the physics. Understanding the physics in ISKCON, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's like this is the first chapter. This particular chapter of all the elements is like a physics only. It's very technical. But how do we understand that? Realize without realization, there is no way we can understand.
Yeah, Prabhuji, whatever we were mentioning, Sankhya philosophy, that's what it is. And unfortunately, we remove the Lord away from everything and try to explain. And that's why, Prabhupada always says this modern civilization is, destructing everything. So thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay. Lingaraj, sorry. Lakshmikant Prabhu, can we stop?
Yes, Prabhu, there are no more comments or questions.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mata. Sandhya Mataji, how are you doing? A long time.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I'm good. Thank you. It was very nice class, and Radha Kunjung Hari Prabhu's comment also greatly, helps how that animation happens. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mata. Hare Krishna.